Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and this week we are going to button up the electric window switches. Alright guys, before we get into it today, I just want to take a quick second out to thank this week's video sponsor, which is Jackery. Now, Jackery have been around for over 12 years. They've sold more than 3 million products worldwide. And they sent me out this amazing Jackery solar generator 2000 plus. And what this is a portable power station. This thing has 2 kilowatts of internal battery storage. It has a whole bunch of outputs, including 3 240 volt 10 amp outputs. It's got USB-A and USB-C outputs, as well as the cigarette lighter type output as well. And it also comes with this 100 watt solar panel that can charge it. All of the packaging is really nice and neat. It's quite robust and flexible. All of the charge cables and everything sort of fit into it. It also has these pull-out stands so that you can just set it up and let it go while you're camping or on site or wherever you are. The other bonus is it's expandable, so you can actually have multiple solar panels going at once. So you can be charging all the time and potentially charge quicker than you're actually using it. Now, the other bonus of this unit is, as I said, it's got a 2 kilowatt internal battery pack, but you can actually expand it with multiple extra 2 kilowatt battery packs that go with it, up to a total of 12 kilowatts of power that you could potentially power your whole house on. It's also controllable by the Jackery app, so you can monitor things and do everything remotely via your phone, which is really handy. So being able to use this in a blackout or on site is a fantastic tool. I'm currently charging the battery, and you can see it's using 41 watts of power to run this charger. And then if I start my grinder, it's now using an extra 300 watts, and I can work away. And even with the charger and the grinder at the same time, it's only outputting about 400 watts. And this can actually output up to 3,000 watts at once, which really shows how powerful this thing really is. Actually, conveniently, this turned up a couple of days ago when we actually had a blackout here, and we were halfway through watching a movie in the evening. There were big storms, and everything went black, and I wheeled this out and plugged everything in, and we just kept going and finished watching the movie, which was very, very handy. So it is definitely a very cool unit. So they're currently running an Australia Day special, which gives you 8% off plus a $100 JB Hi-Fi gift card for all of the SG1000 Pro and SG2000 Pro kits. And if you follow the link in the description and use this discount code here, you can get an extra 5% off to my viewers. So go and check out Jackery stuff, and make sure you get out there and help the brands that support the channel. It really does make a difference, and thank you very much to Jackery. But let's get back into the Alfa. All right, guys, welcome back. And those watching last week will know that I was playing with the gauge cluster all week, and it was slightly frustrating because it didn't turn out the way I expected. If you missed it, I'll put a link up above, and like always, please like, subscribe, comment. It all helps the channel out. As far as this, there were a bunch of suggestions about using LED lights. I know you can get LED globes, replacement globes for these. The issue is it's still not going to be the same. These are backlit, whereas even if I got these brighter, it's still not going to match in with the Center 2 Raceworks gauges. Really, I need to have all of them the same. There are lots of comments that there's custom gauge companies that make custom gauges. You can get anything made if you want to shell out a whole bunch of money for it, but prefer to actually work it out and do it myself. Moving on. So there's a few things with this that I said I'm not happy with, but it will work for the time being, and that will get me out of trouble. So more to come on this in the future. One of the other things that was commonly brought up is why couldn't I use the original style gauges for the center and just do what I did with these ones? The trouble is that the center to these two gauges only have like a 90-degree sweep on the gauges, whereas these are like a 270-degree sweep. It's very difficult to find anything that's going to do that, to be able to replace the guts of the original gauges. And yeah, and getting the original ones to work is a whole level of electronics above my head. But in any case, I'm going to revisit this, and yeah, I've got a plan. So moving on, let me just quickly explain my indicator light issue. Okay, so the issue with the light on the dash for the indicators is if I turn on my right indicator, I'm going to take a positive signal coming out going to that globe. And then it is grounded on the other side of the globe, so you get the flashing indicator light. The trouble is that I have to do the same for both lights because there's one globe. And if I join them together like this, when I turn this indicator on, the power go up and then go and power the other side, and you get all the globes going at once. There were suggestions that I could potentially replace that globe in behind and make two globes that go in there. That's one way to do it. But the simpler way is with diodes. And I am an electrical novice by any means, but so I always imagine 12-volt electricity like water. So if you've got your basic battery and you've got your power, I always imagine the positive as your tap and the negative as the drain. So in order to get water to flow or to the electricity to flow, you need to have the tap flowing to a drain. And that's the only way it's going to complete a circuit. If you've got a tap flowing to a tap, that's not going to work. The water's not going to go anywhere. And if you've got a drain going to a drain, there's no water to go anywhere. That's how I picture it. It's probably not the best way, but that's how I always imagine it. So you need a tap going to a drain. Now, what a diode is a diode, from my understanding, is basically like a one-way valve. So it will let the power come in through and go to the indicator, but it won't let the power go back the other way. So if I have diodes on both sides, when I turn this indicator on, the power will come up here, it'll come here, it'll come to the diode, and it hits a wall and it can't go through. Same with this one, go that way and come back and it won't go through. And that is basically what a diode is. It's just a one-way valve for electricity. Well, that's my understanding anyway. And so I've ordered a couple of diodes. They're going to come, they're extremely cheap, they're cents each, and yeah, I just wire a couple of them into the line and I can run this. It's quite a simple solution. All right, so my task this week is electric window switches, and I spent ages looking around for a nice chrome window switches that would sort of match in with the interior, chrome or stainless or something like that, rather than just a black plastic button that looks too modern for this car. And I didn't really like what I could find. I've actually seen the guys at Classic Retro Power who've used systems where you have the window winder and you just lift it up to wind the window up and down for the window down, and just have the window winder with switches in it. You can buy some very expensive units online, and I'm not even sure if they would work with the splines for these handles. But in any case, I think I can make something up myself that will work and definitely fit these splines and won't cost me a fortune. I'm going to pull apart the original window winder mechanism so I can get the splines out, and we'll start designing up my switches. So I start by cutting off the backing of the factory winder because I'm going to use the original mount to save me making something from scratch. It already holds the spline exactly the way I want it, and I'm going to use the original spline. Then there's a lot of measuring, working out the range of movement I want to use so that they work in that range of movement. Once I have my rough measurements on paper, I start transferring it all into CAD so I can make the parts I need. Once the pieces are designed up in CAD, I then transfer it over to the CNC plasma table and cut them out. Bit of cleanup, and then we see if they work. I've sort of put this together and you can sort of get a bit of an idea of what I was playing with. So I have my spindle on this side. This will be coming out into the car that the winder goes onto. On the back, I made two pieces. I made a backing piece and a forward piece. Now, the design didn't completely work, but the theory is there. Now, I need something to hold the spindle at the back edge because at the moment it's sort of wobbly and not centered. But basically, you can see there that I can move it either way. I've got a hard stop on this end to stop you from just using the micro switches to stop your movement, because obviously some people might want to try and go to crank it. And those little lumps that you can see there were supposed to actually house this tiny little spring and have a spring on either side to give you spring centering. The trouble is that the notches are not deep enough. I did all this measuring of the extended length of the spring and the compressed length of the spring. When it's all the way in one direction, that is the compressed length of the spring and that is the extended length of the spring. But the trouble is that spring is not working. So what I'm going to try is I'm going to go back and I'm going to try one of these, instead of a compression spring, I'm going to try one of these, a tension spring, which has got little loops on either end. So I'm going to try that instead and just see if I can get something like that to work. But the basic principle is there, I just need to refine it. All right, round two, we tweaked the design in CAD and cut out the new bits. Clean them up and then on to reassembly. All right, so round two seems to be a bit better. So this now is the unit, and I have an issue that I noticed that the springs are basically touching the back of these micro switches. So that needs to be extended out. So I might extend this, the base and the center part, and try it again and see if I can come up with another version. But we are getting there. Third time's the charm. If you're wondering what I'm doing with my hand, I am just blocking the arc of the plasma so that it doesn't burn my eyes. That unit is looking very neat and tidy. I am very happy with this and it works. So the stoppers are doing the stopping like they're supposed to, so it has a hard stop. The only thing I'm missing now is that this arm can move inside here, so I need to make some spaces up so it sits perfectly centrally, but I've got a backing plate. The whole thing is a nice, neat unit that does the job. The springs are working perfectly, it self-centers. It works! So it all works. The stoppers work properly. At the moment I need to weld the base onto the factory mount so that it doesn't sort of pivot around. At the moment it can pivot. All I need to do is weld the base plate on, then I can assemble all the rest of it over the top, and we have a working system. I am very happy with that. Now it all lines up, and yeah, that is a very nice, neat little unit. So now I have to make a second one for the passenger side. Just TIG welding on the backing plate, so it's all now one piece with the base. And with some dodgy paintwork, they actually look good. I am really happy with how that turned out. They were fiddly, but I really enjoyed playing around and making these things up. They were actually a fun little project to do, and now I need to mount them in the car. All right, door trims are off, so it's time to actually start wiring in the electric window switches. And electric window switches have an extra complication that is not in most simple circuits on a car. It took me a while till I actually understood how they worked. So I did a basic circuit here, so to turn on a light globe in a car, usually what you've got is you've got the positive connected to one side, there's a switch, sends the positive signal through to the light globe. The light globe is already connected to the ground, so the globe goes on. That's a basic circuit, and most of you probably understand that. Electric windows are a little bit different. Now, electric window systems are very clever. So to get a window normally to go up, you'd have to connect positive to the top and negative to the bottom, and it will go up. But to get it to come down, you need to switch them over. Both sides need to be switched. So the top needs to be negative and the bottom needs to be positive. So you can't have it set up like the light where one side's connected to the ground. It doesn't work. The way that electric window switches work is that it has two switches. It has an up switch and a down switch. A regular switch like on the light, it's in a normally open position. It's only when you switch it that it closes and the power can run through. What the electric motor uses is it uses a normally open and a normally closed side. So when you haven't pressed the switch, there is a negative power running through that switch at all times, on both top and bottom. So no switch is touched, there's negative to both sides of the motor, negative to both sides of the motor, it's not going to do anything. When you switch the up, for example, when you switch the up, that then connects to here, and then the positive runs through to the motor. It's already getting negative from the other side, so the motor goes up. And the opposite is true for the down. So it's quite an interesting little circuit. It's actually not that complicated, but it took me a little while to get my head around it, and that's how they work. Now, getting the passenger window to open from both the passenger and driver's sides, so obviously dual switches that can both do the same thing, that adds a whole different level of complication into it that I'm not going to get into here, but suffice to say, it does work. That brings me to what I'm going to do in this case, because I only have one switch on the driver's side, but I would like to be able to raise and lower the passenger window with the one switch. And how will I do it? And I actually got the suggestion from one of you guys. I'm going to put just this one little switch underneath my driver's side window switch, and I'm going to set it up with a couple of relays so that when you press the switch in, it will actually now control the passenger side window and switch out driver's side. So let's start getting in and doing all the wiring, and I'll show you how it all works, if it can get it all to work. It works. Yeah, buddy. All right, I've got it all in, and now it is actually working properly. So the window's going down, the window's going up with the switch. That works. And then when I press my little button, the passenger window works with the same. Now, I couldn't work out how to do it with less than 4 relays. Unless I used diodes, I could have gone with 3. But I set it up the first time, and the issue was that when I pushed my little switch in, I could use that door and control it from both sides. But when I said the switch was off to use the driver's door, the passenger door didn't work because it wasn't getting any ground. That probably makes sense to some of you guys who have electrical knowledge, but as it is, the doors work. So driver's is working from there and passenger working from here. I am really happy with that. That is fantastic. All right, I've been putting this bit off because it's horrible, but I've got this non-curing mastic sealer. This stuff is gooey and horrible. Like it says, it never cures, it never dries, so it's always stays gooey. And I'm going to put a new vapor barrier on the door before I seal it up, and hopefully everything can stay working the way it's supposed to. And yeah, I don't have to take this off for some time, but you know that's not going to be the case. All right, doors are back together, and we have windows going down and up. And we have our little button for passenger window, which is doing passenger window things. That is working beautifully. And these little quarter glass windows, which open this quarter glass, these are such a fantastic thing. These are actually a factory little fitted thing that should still really exist today, but unfortunately they don't. But they do on the Alfarrari, so that is looking fantastic. But that is definitely all the time we have today, so I think that means it's time for Fun Facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hey guys, in 2015 Ferrari released the FXXK, which, like the FXX and the 599XX, is a limited track only car for the extremely rich. The FXXK is based on the Alfarrari, with the K referring to the Kinetic Energy Recovery System, or KERS. Total combined power output from the 6.3 litre V12 and the electric motor is up to 1036 horsepower compared to the 950 horsepower from the road cars. The FXXK, with its electronic rear wing and large front splitter, creates over half a tonne of downforce at 200 km an hour. The car has 4 different driving modes: qualify, which gives maximum performance over a short distance; long run, as it sounds; fast charge, to rapidly recharge the battery; and manual, which gives all of the available power. In 2017, Ferrari released the FXXK Evo, which is a aero package available for the existing FXXK. This increased the downforce 23% over the standard FXXK and 75% more than the road car. Ferrari also claims that it is 90 kilos lighter. Okay.
That was actually quite successful week. Very fiddly getting in and doing that stuff, but I really enjoyed making those switches. I thought it was a fun project, and for them to actually work the way that they're supposed to, unlike last week's effort, I thought it went down quite well. And yeah, we're really running out of jobs to do on this car. So,
that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, let Jeff know what you think. Patreon if you want to follow me a day early and watch the videos without ads for that first 24 hours. Yep. Yeah, stay tuned for more exciting car stuff.
We'll see you next week. See you guys.
Hey guys. Ferrari released the limited edition FXXK car, which...
No, not car, just FXXK.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
The FXXK, which, like the FXX and the 599XX, race car for the track only. Damn it! Limited track only car is a limited race track car. Track only car is a limited track car.
Track only car.
Track only car. The FXXK Evo, which is a package.
Aero package.